All right, score predictions. Let's do it. Who wants to go first?
I can go first.
Please do. Please do. Jump on it.
I can do it. I don't care.
Jump on it. Jump on it. Jump on it.
I think that this is going to be another scenario where a Georgia football team in this rivalry where they kind of jump out early and it's just going to be cruise easy sailing from that point on. I do think that is going to be close in the first quarter. I feel like most of these Georgia-Florida games are kept close after the first quarter. Typically, a lot of these rivalry games for Georgia, that's how they play out. So I think this could be close in the first quarter, but from that point on, I think that's going to be cruising easy sailing on both sides of the football. I think Georgia's defense is going to continue to build off of the momentum and the confidence that they built against Texas. You're going to see guys getting in the backfield, putting pressure on Lagway, forcing him to be the great athlete that he is. But also, I think you're going to see another solid game from the defensive backs because they're going to have to stay attached longer. And I also think that they're going to be able to play action without having to worry about the run game because I think that Georgia is going to take out Florida's ability to run the football. So I hope I'm out there. I think that Carson Beck is going to have a clean day Saturday. I think I'm going to go ahead and say that. I think he plays turnover-free football on Saturday, and I think it's going to be a big day for Trevor Etienne. So with that said, I have Georgia winning this football game, covering the spread. Georgia 35, Florida 17.
I have very similar prediction for that. There's always been kind of the last 3 or 4 years, there's been one moment where it's a close game. It's kind of like it's two teams filling themselves out. Then one thing happens where the wheels absolutely fall off for Florida. In 2021, we obviously know is the Nolan Smith fumble recovery that turned into 21 points in 2 minutes.
Directly after a pick six.
No.
Or slightly before.
The pick six was last. Nolan Smith fumble, Nolan Smith interception, pick six.
Kearis Jackson bomb head top right after one of the fumble interceptions too.
Correct.
Go ahead.
But 2022 was the Brock Bowers tipped pass. That was miraculous catch. There it is.
The Carson Beck meme?
Yeah.
2023 was the TID fumble in their own red zone. So, I mean, there's always been this one moment that things just kind of go astray for Florida. And I think the game plays out very similarly like that. There's going to be a first quarter struggle between these teams. There's always been. Florida's probably going to look like a solid team. It's going to go, oh boy, Georgia fans are going to take to Twitter to freak out. Then something's going to happen, and then Georgia's going to take control of the game. It's never really going to look back. I like Georgia 38-17 in this. I think this is also a get-right game for Carson Beck. He's come under a lot of fire for, the turnovers he had, whether or not they're his fault. There's still been turnovers on his stat line, so I think he's going to make a strong point to play turnover-free football here. I think Georgia takes good care of the ball through all the day. 38-17 is my final prediction.
That's fair. We're all seeing this game relatively similar. I already laid it out. Florida's a really, really good defense in the first quarter. They seem to fall apart the rest of the football game because of their lack of adjustments. For that reason, I see this game starting tight, but it will only be a matter of time before Georgia's offense is moving the football at will. Question is, can they finish in the red zone? The difference between you guys' scores and mine is I do believe Georgia's going to have the ability to punch it in because you're going to spend a lot of time this week, I would imagine, developing some red zone offense against a football team that is really, really dedicated to stopping the run once you get it into that green zone with their big bodies up front. At one point in that Kentucky film, ball inside the 5, I saw 3 nose tackles on the field for Florida. Their whole mission is to not let you run the ball into the box. So you're going to have to be creative in those red zone attempts. I trust Mike Bobo's ability to do so. I see at least, bare minimum, like you guys said, a 38-point performance from this Georgia offense in this one. My only question is, can they get to the second half without allowing multiple explosives from Lagway? If you allow that, Lagway's confidence and this Florida confidence will ultimately continue and grow, right, as this football game goes on, especially without Dan Jackson and Jonel Aguero in the first half. Will you be able to limit those explosives consistently? My answer is yes. Georgia pulls away late in this football game, 42-24.
I like that. I think we're all kind of similar on this, where it's going to be close at first. It always is. It's going to look like a rivalry game. Florida's probably going to come out fired up. They've been fired up for their coach all season, but eventually Georgia's just going to out-talent them.
That's fair.
You know what's one matchup, though, I wish that we could have gotten to see in this rivalry, and we'll never get it, but something that would have been really fun to watch play out? I would have liked to have watched a Kirby Smart versus Steve Spurrier chess match.
Yeah. I would have liked to see what Kirby would have done to that air raid offense.
That fun and gun, yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't Spurrier beat Kirby Smart's defense while he was at Alabama?
2010, that's the Steven Garcia legacy game.
Steven Garcia.
That's the game where he...
That's a name right there.
Best quarterback in Gamecock history?
He thinks so.
It's either him or Connor Shaw.
Hey,
Yeah,
repping the Fire Branch, baby.
I think Connor Shaw statistically is.
Connor Shaw was a demon for South Florida.
hell of
That
a
was
football coach,
the
too, I
South
think.
Carolina game where he kicked the ball out of the end zone and for a safety, and Spurrier came and chewed his ass, and then ended up beating him.
I met Spurrier at this football game 2 years ago. Still walks around with an entourage. Still giving out takes too.
Yeah,
As he was
is.
going in, he was
especially during the
delivering
off
takes.
season.
Yeah,
They're always tapping.
Well,
into
I'm
that
surprised
line.
ESPN never got him.
I don't
Maybe
think,
he
I
doesn't
don't
want
think
to.
he wanted it.
Why wouldn't you
I-
want the gig of when I want to give a take, I'll just hop on, give somebody a call, or
Yeah, I don't think he wanted. I think when he retired from football, he was done.
Yeah,
I mean
I can
that
see
that
that.
2015 year in South Carolina was rough. What was he like though? I've heard he's a great dude.
an aura for sure about him.
Mm.
But I think that's because he's legendary. But I think even when he was a coach, he had that about him, that level of aura. And like today's day and age, if that guy were coaching football, his press conferences would be must-watch TV.
Oh my God!
You think Lane Kiffin goes viral nowadays? Steve Spurrier
soundbite
would have
after
been
soundbite.
just clip after clip after clip of this dude.
Steve Spurrier was going viral before viral was a thing. People were talking about.
Mhm.
Did you hear what he just said at the halftime presser or the
Yeah.
halftime interview?
We haven't talked at all this week about Etienne returning to this matchup on the other side.
I think it's such an overblown story at this point.
You think?
I think it's like the story to cover because everyone else in the national media is like, well, Georgia's going to beat the shit out of Florida. There's really nothing else to say except, hey, their running back used to play for Florida last year.
Why is Kirk on this call?
You don't like that?
No, I'm just for their purposes. Why is he here this weekend?
'Cause
I
it's
thought
like-
it was interesting that he's not calling the Texas A&M South Carolina game.
Yeah,
It's Greg McElroy and that crew doing
good
that
crew.
one. Yeah, it is a good crew.
That's Kevin Nagandi
No,
with Greg.
No, Sean McDonough.
McDonough.
Yeah,
Still a good crew.
Former Monday Night Football guy.
Yeah,
I think they picked it. I think Kirk
The
and Chris,
Booger Mobile. Oh man,
that was fun.
what a time to be alive!
the
The
booger.
Burger Mobile. I don't know
Booger
why that
Mobile.
failed.
I want to be in the production room when they're like, "Hey, let's put Booger on the sky cam." Hey, but people pay a lot of money for those. No. But let's put Booger in them and have him traveling up and down.
I think my favorite Booger McFarland.
Yeah, coach, this is Boog.